Hello, fellow puzzlers. I was gonna say fellow puzzle enthusiasts. Anyway, still working on a tagline, catchphrase, intro, whatever you want to call it. First things first, perhaps we should always start the videos. I should always start the videos with, then we know it's time for business. If you're just joining me on this video, welcome to Puzzle with Me and my PTSD. I quite enjoy puzzling, but no. I'm really going to be struggling with this piece, I believe, as I don't think I have the right setup, but that's okay. And so we are back. I am doing a Christmas puzzle. I am trying to get into the mood. I already have my Christmas tree decorated. Thank goodness. So nice when the pieces mix together. But, I may have to end this video sooner than later. Nope. Because the power is flicking here in windy Nova Scotia. Let me do a quick, I bet you that goes together. Darn it, it does not. That's okay. Let me do a quick shout out to my home province, Nova Scotia. I feel like that belongs, but perhaps it doesn't. So sometimes when I do a puzzle and I have one piece that I'm really floating around the board, and I believe that is going to be a phrase I'm going to say a lot. Maybe you go together. Don't know what that would belong to. There's not a lot of red on the puzzle scene in terms of large quantities of red. I believe that, let's put our puzzle scene back in there. Okay, sorry guys, just trying to still get this right. Okay. In the puzzle scene, there are quite a few groupings of red, but the groupings are so small that they suggest to me that perhaps I have chosen, how frustrating. They have, this suggests to me that now I'm just going around the board because I'm getting desperate. Oh, good, that clicked together and that seems like it will be appropriate. But hopefully the camera was angled so that you could see my struggle with trying to get the pieces where I think they should go. That is quite frustrating, and I will talk about that for a moment. As someone with PTSD, I do get quite easily annoyed and find it hard to control my emotions when inanimate objects do not work. Oof, how frustrating is it? So, although the puzzle pieces did not organize themselves, I have still decided to approach the puzzle in a certain way. I thought I was being quite clever, but perhaps I have set myself up for failure as I am not understanding where these pieces go together. So, rather than edit it out, let me show you what I normally do when I get frustrated, because I believe there are a lot of life lessons to be had in puzzling. if you have turned into my other videos on this channel, you will understand that I view puzzling as, no, darn it. I view puzzling as a strong guide for learning life principles. I have not always thought like that, but here we are with me believing that. So, what now? I believe this is a great lesson for kids, as well as adults who are struggling. I have made a big song and dance in my previous video about organizing the red pieces into individual subsections. However, the red pieces and I are not meeting eye to eye at the moment, rather than getting waylaid in my frustration because my mental health is not as strong as some, maybe. My mental health is not, oh, isn't that just so lovely when that happens? My mental health is not as strong as some, so I am going to choose to go on to a different color family. Again, color family is how I like to organize my puzzle pieces before they are pieced together. So that is how I will operate. You maybe don't operate like that, and that is perfectly fine. Do not feel guilty for how you organize a puzzle. It is, after all, your puzzle. Now, perhaps what I can do is put together the armchair. Not sure if you can see, so let's move it over a little bit. And for the moment, try this. Ooh, lovely. We'll move it over just a bit. So what I mean is I would like to work on collecting the green pieces that I believe only correspond to the armchair. I believe that will allow me to work in a certain color family that will help avoid confusion and as well allow me to stay in one section of the board. And by that, I mean the puzzle board. I know this may seem incredibly analytical for many people, as you may already do this without actually thinking about it. But as this is an instructional video, I plan to talk about all decisions that honestly do run through my mind, but because I've been puzzling for such a long time now, it is just like driving a car or, for my younger viewers, riding a bicycle. I do these things without thinking about it, but in order to attract a new type of audience, i.e. beginner puzzlers, maybe you have received a puzzle for the holidays. How fortunate for you. So if you are intimidated to puzzle, then you can work with me. Oh no, guess what just happened? I will hopefully capture this. So I have on a ugly house sweater. The reason I don't like it is because it's pilling and the quality is not as it was when I bought it. But I'm not sure if you can see. I'm going to angle the camera. Hopefully you can see. If not, just take my word for it that disaster has struck. So I will gently, oh dear, 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 how frustrating. What happened was my sweater picked somehow at, I've lost so many pieces. How frustrating for me. Somehow my sweater picked at the puzzle and pulled one whole edge side down to the ground. Well, pulled to my sweater, of course, and then down to the ground. So, Now, my one edge piece, edge side, is completely wrecked. Normally, well, let's talk about it. Probably a few mere months ago, I would have had maybe a tantrum. I would not have a tantrum in public, of course, but in the privacy of your own home, sometimes it is easy to forget self-control. But I feel through my extensive counseling that I am able to deal with setbacks at an appropriate, in an appropriate way. Maybe you don't feel like this. Maybe you feel as if the next event that happens will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. If you feel like that, then perhaps that is a sign that you are slowly burning out. This can happen, as it has happened to me several times. And for anyone in any occupation who has ever burnt out before will tell you it is not a nice feeling. So, darn it, I bet you go there. All right, so this puzzle section, I instantly feel better. The color story to me is clear. When I look, when I look through my pile, I am able to confidently believe or say, what have you, that I have collected all pieces. So that is important, because then, as I said, I forget this video or the last, this will help to alleviate feelings of paranoia that how dare the puzzle company not include all of the pieces in the box. They actually have, it's just, no, that doesn't go. It just, at the moment, the puzzler can't connect or find, and that is okay. It is important, as I've said many times and will continue to say in the future, to exhibit self-control. And yeah, it is very important, because without getting into anything too political, working with the public for so long, it is easy to see what nuts. It is easy to see when people almost give up. And that is incredibly sad, as I believe many people have not reached their true potential, because if that person has been perhaps inundated with responsibilities, setbacks, made poor choice, what have you, then how can they really feel? How can you really feel if a certain way about stuff, whether it be life or this person or that movie or that show or that policy or that government? This is not a political channel. If you're here because you're wild about whatever political thing is happening at the moment, no disrespect, but this is not the place for you. So yeah, let's just put that puzzle in the box, because there are people who have more training, experience, education to talk about those kind of things, and I am not the right platform for that. And at the moment, the audience that I am trying to encourage, perhaps, I can guarantee that hard topics like that will only serve to make my ideal viewer stressed, and I don't want to do that. It is very hard to deal with things you cannot control. So imagine how you would feel imagine how you would feel if you could not, what am I trying to say here? If you could not react the way, so basically what I'm trying to say, this channel is meant to be authentic, as I've said, and this will be a point that I will harp on. To me, authenticity counts for too much to be edited out at this time. So think about if you are fortunate at this time of your life that you do not struggle with mental health problems. How lucky you are, because one thing that I will talk about is noise. As someone with, that is part of the chair, I just don't know where. As someone with PTSD, for some reason, noise for me is such an interesting thing. And what I mean by that is that some noise is really lovely. Some noise is very, I don't think you belong. Ooh, the house is shaking. Sometimes noises can be very rewarding. And what I mean by that is when I like to listen to a lot of music, lot of different music, and that works for me. That may not work for everyone, but what I mean by that is that if you can find, if you can find a healthy outlet for you, and if for some reason you are more tuned in to that outlet at the moment, then I think that is a good thing. So there are certain songs right now that are really helping me articulate how I feel about things. And in one of my, with one of my counselors, I often turn to music or even television and movies. Oh, isn't that so lovely when all of that comes together? I somehow feel pretty good about myself. I don't know why, as some would argue, lovely. It is just a puzzle, but I don't believe, as I've expressed, that that is a thing. I think puzzling is so much more than that. And so that is why I created this channel, to try and convey that to others. Hopefully, I am getting better at it. I laugh at how my voice has that weird type of rhythm, but nonetheless. Okay. So, sound for me is huge, and sometimes sound can be very positive, rewarding, reinforces goals or ideas that I have set out for myself. I am pretty much out of green pieces, but I can tell by the scene on the puzzle box that my small selection doesn't even come close to how many pieces are actually left. So that is okay. Apparently I have missed some pieces belonging to the chair, so I will go back into my grouping of unorganized pieces to collect more green. Sometimes I have to go back to the collection of puzzle pieces several times, and it is always so funny how you almost talk to the puzzle and say, oh geez, that's where you were, or oh, I cannot find this piece. Oh look, as I say that, there you are. I find that extremely funny and perhaps self-soothing, as you almost develop some type of a little relationship with your puzzle. I don't think that this is silly. I don't think that this is avoiding harder things, if, of course, you do everything else that you are supposed to do. And what I mean by that is that I am fortunate and have many different counselors to help me also through my PTSD journey. And I have expressed to some of them, only simply because I have only talked to some of them since starting this channel, that I am planning to do this. They have expressed their thoughts on that, and here we are. So, it is easy to fall into something that you like and let it become an obsession. And no, I did not forget to talk about sounds, but I would like to address this, as I think it is an important topic to cover. I am fortunate and have counseling, and I believe it is going well now. Perhaps you do not have counseling, or you have had counseling in the past and you have felt unhappy with that at the time in the past, or even at the moment. And that is okay. To me, when I worked in healthcare, one question, I certainly was not a doctor, so we can waylay those types of ideas. But I always asked my patients if, one, they had a doctor. As we know, Nova Scotia is struggling to keep doctors. But again, that is not what we are here to talk about. If you would like to discuss that, I don't know what avenue to tell you to focus on for that, as I am sure it is not as straightforward as some would have you believe. But See, now I've lost my train of thought. Oh yes, here we are. So, if you do not enjoy your relationship with your healthcare provider at the time, i.e., your family doctor, your counselor, your dentist, your physiotherapist, your masseuse. I apologize, I do not. The professional name has left me. I apologize. Masseuse, I believe. Anyway, let's move on. That just shows where my brain is at for the moment, as I've expressed many times. If your relationship is not one that you look at fondly, then of course you will be struggling. And I believe this relates back to my idea, which is so simple, but yet so hard to follow through on. And what I mean by that is, again, set yourself up for success and not failure. One time when I was in school, and as in another video, I believe the Get to Know Me, you will learn that I have quite a bit of education background. But, I'm getting frustrated again. See how easily puzzles can challenge you? Whew, so interesting to me. So, that being said, what was I going? Sorry, my dogs were making noise in the other room, and I'm trying to determine if I need to stop the video and restart, or if they will be quiet so that I can continue to do this with you. So again, I have lost my train of thought. Yes, one time I had a academic person of academia say to me, but really it was to the group, but it struck me very hard because what a way to think about life. They said that one of the biggest procrastinating things that people do, I'm paraphrasing, it's been a bit of time. One of the biggest procrastinating things that people do, which makes absolutely no sense, and this is very interesting, as this is not a comment on people, but an observation. Lovely. Did that capture on camera? I don't believe it did. Let's move back down this way. Again, this is going to be a learning curve for myself, so please cut me some slack. They said that procrastinating shoveling snow is such a self-sabotaging way to be. And again, I'm taking creative liberty in making that exact statement, but because, think about it, snow is primarily light and fluffy. Yes, I can already hear the people telling me that they have more wet snow. Perhaps they are nearby an ocean, or I don't know. But for argument's sake, please just try and follow my train of thought. So they said that when you wait, so nice. When you wait to shovel, then really you're only working against yourself, as the snow, so nice, as the snow will only become heavier as time goes on. So why would you procrastinate that chore? Why would you not attempt that chore maybe instead of moving large chunks, not even chunks, large, centimeters, inches, feet, what have you, of snow, maybe do it at different segments through the day. Of course, I instantly realized that some people are stuck at work, away, and they may not have the time. But it was such an interesting perspective as a change of thought from when I went to St. Mary's and achieved my 2 different degrees. I always studied a certain way, but after hearing, that's how that goes, perfect. After hearing what that individual had to say or recommend, it was a really interesting way to think of studying and to think of how we challenge, and I mean we challenge our brain, because the brain, I guess, ideally, the average brain, is not really designed to deal with hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of studying. Instead, you will have more success if you study for, or perhaps this translates into other hard or undesirable tasks, if you set yourself up that you only do that task for perhaps 20 minutes. Now, this was revolutionary for me, as I felt that I had already succeeded in developing my studying style, if you will. Perhaps there's life lessons for the younger generation in this, for things I wish I would have changed. I did well at St. Mary's, but of course I was at a different time of my life, so I did not do as well as I perhaps could have done if I would have been at a different stage. But I wish that I would have, I wish I would have used that studying technique instead of breaking it up into 20-minute segments, because I believe you study or do the task at hand for 20 and then take a 5-minute break. It really does seem like you would get nothing done. However, I will say I was able to change my approach and achieve more than when I tried to study the way that I was used to. So I think there are a lot of life lessons in that, ones that will only help you do better. So that's why I decided to talk about it. Now, I forget if I was supposed to talk about anything else as important, but that's okay. I'm trying to see where this puzzle, how these pieces relate back to the story. I believe this piece will go. Blanket is there. And again, I understand you guys probably can't see this, and that's okay. It simply is what it is. But just to help encourage maybe people who don't understand the joys of puzzling, but they've been watching, let's change, there we go. But for the people who aren't really into puzzling or are on the fence, for me, it is the little joys of realizing that you are farther along than you thought, because the PTSD mind, or at least my mind, always thinks the worst. I always think that I am going to fail. I always think people hate me and not only would rather I not be there, but would actually relish in me not being there. That is my own insecurities. I will say that without getting into it, sometimes people's actions inadvertently Sometimes people's actions inadvertently cement those ideas that are in your head. And that is hard because they may not realize that you feel like that. As I have been developing this channel, I have been reaching out to certain people as discussed because they are, they have had some part in my life that has stood out at this time for me, and I would like to know what they think. So that is hard because not everybody understands the point of this, but that's okay. It is really hard to hold the mirror up to yourself. And some people, I don't know, maybe, some people, through no fault of their own, as will say and do things that perhaps if they knew how you felt about said thing, they would never, because they don't understand that that is how your brain is going to process that at sheer fine. Their dogs are waking up from a nap, so this puzzle will have to come to an end in a little bit. However, I will say that keeping with that topic or that idea, that some people who don't suffer with mental health will struggle to understand. Why would I, just me, because again, I cannot speak for you, but why would I think that? Well, I don't know, darn it. I am trying to be open and figure out why my brain works a certain way. And as I've said, it is hard. So I am hoping this channel will help people that maybe you cannot articulate things the way I can. And that's okay, because maybe you can suggest to your person in your life who doesn't seem to get it of where you're coming from or what you may need at the moment, because that may become very different than, say, what you needed even a few months ago. Your mind is working very hard to perform a certain way, so I can only imagine internally how the neurons and all of that stuff are firing. How interesting that must be. But hopefully you are not struggling that much. If you are, again, I am sorry about that. It is very hard to feel alone. Now, as I said a while ago, and I apologize for the segue, I still will be talking about sound, but I just wanted to show something, and I realized that scene was probably done extremely close up, but c'est la vie, such is life. I get so excited once the puzzle starts to come together that sometimes I have to remember I am filming this. So I will show you with these pieces here. Hopefully the phone does not slide out of my temporary tripod, which is just a can for pens, if you will. So the nice thing is these pieces here, this is quite a close-up. The videos will not be like this for the most part. These pieces here, we can see they all are of a similar color family, i.e. green. They have some speckling or freckling or what have you over them, so the pattern is consistent. Plus, you can see the lines that actually are part of the chair when you reference the main picture of the puzzle. But you can see how they all connect together. So what's really nice when we start looking at shapes, oh, I'm trying to sing fancy Disney-like. Oh, isn't that so nice? So we can see that our puzzle is ticking right along. So let's quickly figure out the next plan. Where do you go? I think you go like that. Okay, and then this maybe goes like that. How do you connect to each other? I always find this a very interesting part of the puzzle. If I have not expressed that before, I will continue to express that thought in the future. I think puzzles are a great way for I wonder if you go that way. A great way for people to, I don't know, just deal with life. Oh, that's gonna connect over there. Wow, what a large piece. Let's show you what I just did as it was off camera. So we'll play pretend. I had this individual piece right here. We can see primarily it's green, and it is that color of green that leads me to believe that it belongs to the chair, but there is some red on it. When I look at the picture in the distance, please don't mind my messy kitchen. I really wanted to get back into the puzzle. We can see on the chair that there not only are two puppies, but there is also a red blanket. That storyline leads me to believe that that red on the green, to analyze it on a micro level, is that piece, that puzzle piece, relates back to the chair that is covered by the red blanket. So when I pick up this individual piece, and yes, this is how I analyze almost every piece. Sometimes puzzling can be exhausting. I see that this piece probably goes over to the side, as the chair is primarily to the side rather than in the middle of the puzzle scene. I can bet that the red, as I said, is the blanket on the chair, so it probably tucks in close to the edge. So watch as I say the puzzle magic happen. Let's take a closer look. Oh, so lovely. I am not sure if anyone else feels a positive rush of endorphins when that happens. If you don't, just wait. Look at this large section that came along quickly, but I was unable to connect the rest of these to that one section. But look at how that just lines up and clicks in. Oh, wow. Look at all. You know what? I don't know if that connects. Hang on. Let's see. I believe that connects, but I wonder. I believe it does. The story seems too similar to me, and what I mean by that, without going into detail, because let's see if you in the audience can figure out what I would talk about. Color, patterns, shapes, I don't know. Seems like it belongs there to me. I'm quite happy with how that fits. And see, when we pan out, how much of the puzzle we've completed and how much of the puzzle we've actually connected. Geez, don't I find that so rewarding? God, this sounds so lame as I'm sitting here trying to articulate my voice in a way that is pleasant to follow. I apologize because there is so much in my head right now that I would like to discuss without a script and without a plan, trying to make this flow a certain way is naturally difficult to achieve because there is just so much I would like to say, help with, inspire. I don't know what other words could be, but it just, again, shows where my brain is at. So, we have quite a large section over here of green. I believe that corresponds to the arm of the chair. So how does that, yeah, that would kind of be the dog's. I'm also going to be trying to think out loud. If I don't, because I'm very focused at the moment, then I apologize. Please help me identify how these videos not should go, because of course I will retain the right to create this content the way I think, the way I see fit, because no one is in my head and no one can really understand, I think, the message I'm hopefully going to create. But if you see similarities, if you see similarities to yourself, then I do think that is a win. It's like the phrase or the meme when I used to be online. Oh geez, did I love me some memes. Do you know what I meme? That was actually quite funny to me in my head. Nonetheless, these do not go together at all. That is frustrating. What was I saying? There's a lot for me in my head, and to get it out, it is hard because you want to be careful that you are not hindering anyone. I think this is a horrible way to live life, where you relish in the pitfalls of someone else's life. I don't understand your mentality, and I feel quite badly for you. And maybe 2024 can be your time to change your measures of success and focus on just yourself and not the struggles of everyone. I think that society gets into such... Where did these pieces go? All right, back to the sorting pile. Sometimes you may have to go back to your pile quite a few times to gather new pieces. And of course, that is okay. It is actually expected. So don't feel like a failure if you have to go back to your sorting pile many times. You may be surprised that sometimes when you puzzle with me, which would be pretty cool, sometimes you may be further ahead than I am. This channel is not meant as competitive. This channel is not meant for comparison. This channel is meant to have two things: a platform for mental health and hopefully change for the individual viewer, a change for society in understanding why someone may feel or act a certain way. And of course, it is also a puzzle channel. It is meant to encourage people to puzzle. I think puzzling was at a time a lost art, which is thankfully made such a healthy return to society that, of course, to me, all one can do is revel in the joys of puzzling, because it is just so much fun. So I will talk about, for my new puzzle people, let's go back to this one section. So, as discussed a few moments ago, I was quite happy that these two sections connected with one piece I found. However, when I began to video in detail that connection and explain that story, I almost started to feel insecure that those pieces did not belong, because for a moment, that line on that puzzle piece did not seem to go down this way or up this way. Maybe more down, because you do see it is starting to come down. So it would suggest that it would continue on the sister piece, or the partner piece, but the line does not continue onto this piece. So was I actually correct? And the nice thing about puzzling is if you head in the right direction, which not achievable every time, and that is okay, then sometimes you have a piece which just confirms that you were on the right track. And one aspect of my mental health journey, and yes, I could feel some of you roll your eyes, and someday you will understand this journey. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. If you don't, then that is okay. You do not have to watch. But one thing I am learning through counseling is that apparently I need a lot of praise. This, I believe, is inundated, I don't know if that is the right word, due to the fact that I have such poor self-confidence and such a strong inner critic voice that I will believe the worst about myself now, unfortunately, and it is only the praise of others that can make me feel, I don't know, make me feel loved, make me feel worthy, make me feel, you see where I'm going with this. So I guess my point being, I don't always get what I need. And I believe that relates back to something that is called love language. We can discuss that, but I really would like to focus on what I talked about before, i.e. sounds. I have not forgotten about that subject. I am trying to work my way back to it, but clearly it is hard. So, love language, such a good topic. Basically, quickly, it's how, to my understanding, it is how people express their love. It is, again, not meant to be a comparative thing or, I don't know, competitive, comparative, they're all the same thing. It is meant as a you thing, and it's really neat if you can utilize it to recognize, because perhaps then it becomes easier to identify how someone is trying to show you they care about you. i.e., I love to give people things. And of course, I'm sure there's going to be a million comments asking me to give this and give that. I am off work right now, so I am limited in my financial abilities. But generally, people know me to give. I quite enjoy it. Now, of course, some people will call me materialistic, and that is okay because that is your opinion. And I have learned there's nothing I can do to control your opinion of me. All I can simply do is control how I react. That is it. You would not believe how long that has taken my brain to comprehend. Again, I am 39 years old and in intense counseling a few times a week. So the fact that I am able to figure that out, of course with the help, but the fact that I am able to acknowledge that and talk about that as if in a real conversation, not to discredit this forum, but of course it is easy to talk when no one is, interrupting you, asking questions, changing your focus. This is just someone hopefully listening to me ramble and maybe finding some similarities in how they feel. So, maybe you don't get the love language. So the love language, I like to give people things because quickly, let's take a puzzle break. I find inanimate objects interesting. I hold no love towards, for example, a car. But, can I ever struggle with a car that is supposed to go when you put the key in the ignition? And when it doesn't, I struggle with controlling my emotions of how frustrated I am. And the reason I'm frustrated is because to me, an inanimate object is there to make your journey, life, day to day easier. So when it doesn't work, how frustrating is that? So frustrating for me at least. So I like to give gifts to make someone's day easier because to me, then when they have, I don't know, just say someone needed something as simple as tape. I know that is so simple, but they have something they're trying to put up on the wall and they have one tack and the tack is just not working. But I know what they're trying to do, and so therefore I go get them tape, and the tape allows them to adhere their project and not stress, so then they can focus on other things with their time, because everyone's time is more valuable than fighting with an inanimate object that just will not perform, that will not perform the way they want it to. Again, this absolutely drives me and makes me so frustrated. So I like to get items for people that hopefully will help them in their day-to-day. The way I love to receive, that was a nice pun. The way I like to receive love is through praise. I find that as a society, we are getting away from praise and of course getting inundated with complaining. And I am not here to judge. I am just here to say that my love language is praise or acknowledgement or what have you, just to know that someone else, because let's discuss. When someone praises me, then that tells my brain, shh, don't listen to the insecurities that you struggle with every single day / moment, but you trust your mother, you trust your husband, and they are saying something other than what matches in your brain. So, because you trust and of course love them, then what you're thinking can go away, be quiet, whatever, and you can believe in the better thing that you may have thought but felt too insecure to believe, i.e., I feel like I am good at puzzles, but I have insecurities, so perhaps my insecurities are raging right now because I am struggling to do this section of puzzle. And I am trying to host a show that says I am good at puzzles. But I can hear my support team saying that, wow, look at you putting yourself out there. And so I know that this channel is meant to do good things. So hopefully that will help you understand a few things and introduce you to new concepts that maybe you haven't thought of before, i.e. the love language. I heard this one time on a talk show and I thought it was a very interesting concept. That was several years ago and it has still stuck with me. Now you see the power of the mind and whatnot. Okay, let's talk about it. Sound. So, some sounds, as I've already discussed, like music. I am able to connect to music in a certain way that personally I feel like I hear the message or the story or the vibe or the goal. I don't care what you call it, but hopefully you understand what I mean. One time when I used to be online, I saw a meme that was so funny and so, not funny, sorry, wrong word, that was so on point. It was of no particular band, but it was a meme. Not a meme. Okay, let's get on. It was a screenshot of a concert with so many fans, and they were all like, you know, dancing or singing back to the actual artist or what have you. And the musician said that you may create a song that has a message, and everybody will sing that back to you at, for example, a concert, but they will sing that back to you for a different reason, i.e., that song meant this to me, and for someone else, that song meant that. So, I think this is very interesting because to me, it just shows that, I'm probably not conveying this correctly, but this just shows to me the power of the mind and how the mind, I think, is always looking for new things to perhaps, as I said, maybe feel validated, or the mind is looking for new things to stress about, or the mind is looking for new things to explore, i.e. me creating a YouTube channel. I feel as if I'm back in design school, which of course was many years ago. But the creative juices are flowing and it is quite fun for me. Now, I'm going to pick a new color group. I believe I have created enough of a story of the chair. I am stuck. So in order to work smarter and not harder, let's see if some of these dark, oh, lovely. I love when there's a change in the story. And what I mean by that is I had a few pieces that I thought belonged to this large group of green, i.e. the chair that you can see in the background, but actually it belonged simply in this little corner. There's not too much green there, so it's interesting how the puzzle pieces were cut in such a way that that small section, to me, tells such a large story. I think what I may do now is jump in no particular order to the window. And the reason I'd like to jump to the window is because the pieces are really standing out to me when I look at the whole mix of my puzzle pieces. Oh, as I said that, I almost picked up a wrong piece, and that is okay. If you pick up, my hair is making shadows on my puzzle pieces, so I almost have to stand at a dramatic, awkward way, but yeah. So, not sure if you can see this, but something I do like to do is often push the pieces around, as I've said in definitely one of my videos so far. The reason I like to move the pieces around is because the light doesn't always hit the same way on every single piece. So sometimes, due to time of day, shadowing, whatnot, you can stare at the same thing, grouping, for a long time, but until your perspective changes, again, such as you should be trying to do in life, the outcome may change. And maybe the outcome will be more beneficial. Look at all the pieces that I collected. So, sounds. Okay. So, I'm going to talk about how I struggle with sounds. I will not show you my reaction because I'm not trying to I am not trying to exploit myself. I hopefully am not going to become a person on the internet, a channel on the internet that people make fun of. So one sound that I notice bothers me for some reason, and I don't know why, is the sound of cutlery. So you can see I just grabbed some butter knives. Oh, I have a plate. So let's take a little break and talk about sounds. This is going to be hard. Even though I am expecting it, it is going to be incredibly loud. Oops. Okay. So this sound, oh God. So I cannot do that sound again. There is something about the octave, pitch, whatever is the proper terminology, that hits that makes me feel as if I want to crawl out of my skin. If you have ever been at a party with me in the last 2 years, because yes, my mental health has been struggling for that long officially, let alone before reaching said diagnosis, you will know that I jump. It is as if my seat at the restaurant, party, dinner table is made of electricity. And I will jump and embarrass myself, perhaps embarrass others. But this is something that I cannot control. If I was able to control it, then clearly getting crazy over here in Puzzle Land. If it was something I could control, then I certainly would control it. But you would not believe how people do not understand, because even people very close to me still find it quite odd, as I do not believe my PTSD has any relation to restaurants, cutlery, all of that. I don't know why, as an example, that bothers me as much as it does. So, that is one sound that I know I have to be cautious with. And what that means is when I go to a restaurant and the servers, and I used to be a server, so I understand, the servers, in order to move tables quickly, have to clear the tables efficiently. So naturally, they would be piling cutlery on plates to move quickly. Again, I have to go back to my pile to see where some more pieces for the window are. But as I say that, I see a weird shape here. No, doesn't relate. Thought it would. No, okay, that's okay. That is okay. Let me just quickly go back as I'm talking. So, why would the servers change how they do things? So this is the part of PTSD that you may also be struggling with, because as you become comfortable with people and you talk about your struggles, sometimes, unfortunately, they may forget. And they may forget because they do not suffer the same struggle as you. So, how can I ask a restaurant to not stack and clear tables that way? To me, that makes no sense. And this is not a comparison. If you've had to leave leave a place because you could not handle the environment, then that's okay. That's where you're at that moment. I feel badly for you, and I hope things improve in the future, and hopefully you can find some tips for success in this video, let alone channel. But I have learned that perhaps, maybe right now, I cannot go to a restaurant because I cannot handle that noise. One interesting tidbit that is funny to learn about me is that, darn it, edge pieces lay flat, is that I have the 4 dogs. They can be quite loud, as someday the video will demonstrate, because someone will come to the door. And yet the barking, for some reason, does not bother me. I don't know why. All I know is I'm incredibly fortunate, as my dogs are pretty much my best friends. And wouldn't that be a shame if that noise was too much for me and I had to reconsider, I would never give them away. That's just me, because again, they are my best friends. But, I've never been put in that situation. So lucky for me. Now, that being said, is that going to work? Oh, lovely. Now, that being said, let's talk about it. I was recently at a party and I struggled immensely because I really was having a ton of fun, but at one point in the evening, the noise became quite loud. And of course you would say, well, Trez, it is a party, as some of the other people said. And honestly, that is what almost led me to create this channel. Because, yes, you are right. It is a party, and you should have a ton of fun. Everyone in my life primarily works hard and deserves time to unwind and relax. And I certainly enjoy being part of that, enjoy part of their wind down, because that tells me that they view me hopefully in a a helpful way, and not someone who is going to unintentionally cause them more stress or struggle or what have you. So you go on the bottom, you go on the top. Okay. Oh, look, we're gonna have a nice piece fit together. I will save that for you guys for a second. But what do you do, especially come the holiday season? I believe it is nice to be around people during the holiday season, but it may be a struggle for you. So I think you need to open up to your group of people, whether it be workmates, family, friends, whomever, and have an honest conversation. Because I believe that if people know better, then they do better. I often hear, well, Trez, I don't get it. That doesn't bother me. Okay. But my argument, for no other way to say it, because I understand. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be thinking a certain way and blah, blah, I am going to keep the conversation going, move on to a new color story. I've done the window. I do want to show you part of it, but I want to continue this story. I think it's important because I know a lot of people struggle with triggers. So I think that you should take this opportunity, or take a chance and be honest with the people that you want to be around, maybe over the holidays. And now, darn it, I had two pieces together and now I don't. There we go. Be honest, because I believe if people know better, then people will do better. So maybe people don't understand that you cannot watch a certain movie, show, what have you. Maybe you are really affected, like me, by sound. And so certain things are going to be a struggle. Unfortunately, I did not follow my own advice and attended said party without kind of checking in with the host and hostess, who are very, very sweet people. And I believe if would have known ahead of time, perhaps would have, it would have been easier than trying to explain my struggle when it is a party, when people are perhaps a few hours into a party, into the party vibe, so they may not understand, well, that doesn't bother me, so why should that bother you? Well, you're right. And it is something I am hoping to try and express through this channel. So, I decided that for me, hopefully, I think the night was still a success, even though I felt so panicked with the noise. I don't know. I felt as if something bad were about to happen, because it was almost, it was a song and it was almost a crescendo, and I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like I can't listen to a timer ticking down like that, 60 minutes. That sound Right now, where I'm at and struggling is thinking that bad things are going to happen, especially the more better I feel. I always, in the back of my head, am worried it is all going to come crashing down and things will actually become worse than before. So, my point being that I thought the night turned out okay because I really had fun. And what a success for not only me, but as well for the host and hostess. Maybe they don't understand that what seems like such a simple thing for them, a party, is monumental for someone like me who may not feel as if who may, I didn't, but someone, may be pulling away. So the fact that they're, putting themselves out there, which is a big part of therapy, you have to put yourself out there. So, maybe you haven't been because you've been feeling insecure, nervous, what have you. So for me, the fact that not only did I feel like good for me, I could participate in a game that is honestly one of my most favorite games. I'll talk about another time. It's called Spoons. But anyway, yeah, just my point being, the fact that this couple could create an environment to which I was able to, in a sense, let my guard down and have fun and relax for a moment. Wow. I don't think they will ever understand how significant that is. Because, as I hopefully have expressed, it is incredibly hard to feel as though you can relax because I often feel as though people are judging me, and again, wishing that I was not here, that I am a bother, that I am just worthless. That's hard. Because I do think that you can tell someone that, you can tell someone whatever you want, but until they believe it, they will never truly feel that way about themselves. And so, again, it becomes harder when you're not able to have an open relationship about your struggles, because they think, oh, well, they came to the event, whether it be the party or dinner, movie, conference, what have you. They can handle it. I've told them, a million times how I feel, how I care for them, and but if they don't know that sound bothers you or what your triggers are, and I don't think there's anything wrong. Ooh, it's getting chilly. I don't think there's anything wrong with the word triggers. Some people, for some reason, do not enjoy the word. I don't know why. I put my sleeves up because inadvertently, not inadvertently, I don't know what the word is, they will always get pulled back up. But if people do not know what your triggers are, then how can they help you when you struggle? So if you can choose to open up this year, maybe make this the year that a few things change in your life and hopefully change for the positive, then wow, be proud, because look how far you've come. And there's definitely something to be said for that, and something, a way for you to feel good about yourself. So I think on that note, I'm going to take a little break from sound and show you a really good connection piece, which again, hopefully for my first time puzzle, do I want to puzzle? Maybe not. Just to show where the real rush of good feelings comes from. So again, we have two sections which I believe correlate to the window in the scene. We can see we have the moon here, and then on the top of the middle of the window, there's two houses. See one house here, and then part of a house. So can we zoom in? Can I zoom in? There we go. Let's show how nice and dramatic that looks. Oh, get my big old mittens out of the way here. Oh, and that just slides in so, just the pieces just line up so well. So wow, good job me. And again, this is such a great way to release small amounts of, the feel-good stuff in a healthy way, because maybe no one has acknowledged your struggle. Maybe no one has, let's take a second here. Maybe no one has acknowledged your struggle, or maybe, people are snapping at you more lately, and, maybe they're not giving you what you need. So it is okay, I think, to turn to a puzzle, because when it fits, oh baby, it's good. And I don't have a doubt as I say that, let's zoom back out. I don't have a doubt as I say that could be misconstrued for something else. And I certainly hope that these videos will continue to be seen for the educational purposes that it is meant to be, and not run wild with the other feelings with the other ways that perhaps I say something, and once I hear myself say it, yes, of course, I hear what other people are hearing, but again, I'm trying to do these videos unedited, because again, I think that there is something to be said for, isn't that just lovely? There is something to be said for, I bet you that goes there. Oh, it's not going to be great. Nope, darn it. Oh well, that's okay. There is something to be said for authenticity right now. I am starting to really follow one YouTuber. I will say her name. Please understand I am probably butchering this name, and whenever I hear it correctly, I always try to re-say it. Jade Beason, Beason. She is, I do subscribe to her channel, so you should be able to find her by looking at my subscriptions. But I am following a lot of what she's saying, because I think not only is she really on point and quite intelligent, but it's just interesting her perspective. So that being said, I want to stick with authenticity. So hence why my videos are often, hence why my videos are unedited, other than the videos that I get to have fun with, which are some of the shorts. Basically, I'm just learning how to create things. So adding sound onto a video or whatnot. Although I will ask, how are we as content creators, because yes, I would like to become part of this family. It seems to be very rewarding so far. How do content creators have music on their channels and then the videos? Because I always thought that there was such a thing as copyright laws. So I am trying to research that, because I would like to add some music to my videos. But I will see where that ends up going. So I don't think that belongs. No, it doesn't belong there. I don't know where this one belongs. So that being said, all right. I think I'm going to stop the video there. I know it's quite a long one. Hopefully you've puzzled along with me. If you haven't, I can just be on in the background, and hopefully some key points today about PTSD discussion were met. Oh wow! Just when you think you're done, let's again take another little peek at a really good section. So look at this large section, It has the chair, big section here, and we're gonna connect it. Just wait, because I just saw how the shapes go. Oh, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, isn't that so good? Oh, that just gives me everything I need. And what's interesting about Cobble Hill is sometimes they will make puzzle partners that actually don't connect to each other in the traditional sense of one interlocking, but they will simply butt up against each other. But you know that those two pieces go together because of the surrounding family or story around. Now, if I had just picked up these two individual pieces that don't click together, perhaps it would have been more of a struggle to understand how they connected because they don't interlock. I am so used to doing puzzles that interlock, it would be a whole new kettle of fish if they actually didn't. I don't know how I would get through that puzzle. I'm sure that I would, but I know at this particular time in my life, I have zero interest in doing puzzles that would just cause me to be more stressed. Again, I don't understand the logic of setting yourself up for failure. Why not set yourself up for success every time? To me, it is so much smarter, and perhaps this is how, where does that go? Perhaps this is how, this is the difference between successful people and non-successful people, because it is a new concept for me, but one that I hope to run with for quite a while. Now, unfortunately, because of the camera angle, I don't think you can really see, maybe you can see a little bit, but I was planning to I was planning to call it a day a little while ago, but the puzzle pieces at that moment, a few moments ago, were really ticking along. So it becomes hard to walk away. Yet, also another life lesson. When we enjoy things in a time in our life where joy is so hard to find, then of course it makes, in my mind, perfect sense of why someone may overindulge. Now, maybe, did she go there somewhere? Maybe that particular person is overindulging on things that, and of course, I am not referring to, illicit things, alcohol, drugs, gambling, affairs, all of the things which honestly are very self-harming if you do it in an unhealthy way. I think that there is a time and place for some things, but not everything. And I would prefer to not get into a discussion of what my values are, as these values may not line up with everyone. And that is certainly okay, because this is about growth. And perhaps what I feel right now, I may not feel in the future. So I do not want to really put a firm stance on a lot, because I identify that things can change at the drop of a hat. And perhaps your thought process may be different than when you didn't know. So I am choosing to make this channel, as I said, as a way to not only help those who struggle, but as well to maybe help those who don't struggle, but are part of someone's life who is struggling. I was about to say part of their struggle, but I don't think everyone shares the same struggle. So how would you understand? Because I've always said, unless we live the exact same life and have done the exact same thing, how can anyone really know what you are going through? I don't think they can. But that doesn't mean that people cannot try better. So I am hoping to inspire people to do better, because I can tell you it is really hard on this side of the fence, if you will. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of doing a 1,000 piece Christmas scene Cobble Hill puzzle. I've enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully you can get something out of this video, let alone this channel. Please subscribe for more, and please like this video to help me grow my platform. I welcome any questions, but of course, let's try and keep things positive in nature. I am always open to feedback, but I do not support people who like to bring down other people. I just don't understand that, as I've discussed. Happy holidays to everyone, and I will continue to do this puzzle and only on camera, and we will continue to have a discussion about puzzling and the PTSD journey. All right, I have to go do some chores, so thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great one.